Hello everyone and welcome to the conclusion of the match Hans Niemann versus Anish Giri. Classical and Blitz have already been played. Hans defeated Anish in both Blitz and Classical, and now Anish has a chance to bounce back in the Rapid section. Now, regarding the title of the video, I will explain that after we check out the game, but this is game 3 of the Rapid section. I thought this was the nicest one, and showing it also for a separate reason that I'm also going to discuss at the end of the video. Started off by Hans winning the first Rapid game, Anish won the second Rapid game, also with white, and now we have a game where Hans has white. This is the third game. Let's check it out. And in the first game that Hans lost, the first game that Hans won, he won with e4, and he doesn't repeat it. He switches it now to pawn to d4. We have pawn to d5 by Anish, c4, we have c6 going for the Slav defense, and Hans goes for the exchange variation. We have knight to c3, knight to f6, and bishop to f4. We have knight to c6 and pawn to e3, bishop to g4 attacking the queen, and queen to b3. Now, there is a game where Levon beat Hikaru in this line, but there's also a game where Wesley so defeated Anish Giri. So does Hans know about this game? It's hard to say, but it's very interesting that he will be the one that deviates from the game that Wesley so defeated Anish Giri. We have knight a5 attacking the queen, queen to a4 check, and now bishop to d7. You could also bring the knight back, but bishop to d7 is preferred, and now bishop to b5. In the game that I've mentioned from the Grand Slam Masters in 2015, Wesley played queen back to c2, but Hans goes bishop to b5, and okay, the game continues. Knight to c6, we have knight to f3, pawn to a6 attacking the bishop, and bishop back to e2. And you do have some discoveries here, just not very useful ones. So Anish just continues, pawn to e6, we have castles, and bishop to e7. And now there is a game where pawn to h3 was played, but here we have rook f to c1, and it is now as of move 13 that we have a completely new game. And as you can see, both of them still have a decent amount of time, and rook f to c1 is deemed an inaccuracy by the engine, saying that you should really play h3 to make a square on h2 for the bishop, and that black should immediately counter this with knight to h5. But Anish decided not to do it. So the game could go something like knight h5, let's say queen back to d1, you capture here, and you get a very nice control over the e5 square, much like you would in a London system setup where you give up the bishop on f4 for the knight. But okay, rook f c1, Anish just castles kingside, and now Hans just plays pawn to h3. He frees up the h2 square for the bishop, pawn to b5, we have queen back to d1, and queen to b6, and now pawn to a4. And what you should do here is play pawn to b4, as you should in many other positions. But here, Anish played b captures on a4, and this already puts him in a close to losing position, believe it or not. Hans plays knight captures on a4, and now queen to b7. And now, what's the real problem with this position? Feel free to pause the video and try to figure it out while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on figuring out that you have to make a move with the knight back. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is knight to e1. This is the way to do it. And you want to grab the c5 square for your knight. And then imagine this knight on c5 defended by another knight on d3. So it doesn't matter if the bishop is traded for knight or not, the a6 pawn will fall. The bishop will be attacking it, the rook will be attacking it, and the knight from c5 will be attacking it, plus also just wreaking havoc on black's entire position. And to make matters worse, it's not just that you're going to be down a pawn, you're also going to have to face white's passed b pawn. So that's the problem. Anish goes knight to e4, knight to d3, and now rook f to c8. And now there's only one winning idea here, but I'm sure you guys already know what it is since I've mentioned it. You have to put a knight on c5, and that's why Anish put a knight on e4 to prevent this, but just pawn to f3 by Hans. We have knight back to f6, knight d to c5, and it doesn't matter if you capture or not, the a6 pawn will fall. Anish captured once, captures, and now queen to b6, and just bishop captures on a6. The a6 pawn has been eliminated, thus freeing up the path for the passed b pawn to be marched up the board. We have rook to d8 as the rook is hanging here, so rook to d8, And now just rook to a3. Hans prepares to double up on the a file. We have knight to a5. Trying to give up the rook for bishop and knight, but Hans just played rook c to a1, and he was in this position on move 25 that Anish Giri resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. And also one of the reasons why I've chosen this game is that by winning this game, Hans also clinched the match. He went into the rapid section with a 6-point lead, and winning game 3 and game 1, Anish can no longer catch up to him. The rapid section was tied. They started trading wins with the white pieces. First Hans won, then Anish won. Hans won this game. Anish won game 4 with white, and then they both won a game with the black pieces to cap it off. And Hans wins the match. I think it was 22.5 to 16.5 by a 6-point margin. And here you resign because, well, this idea obviously no longer works. If you capture here, then the knight on a5 is hanging at the end of the line. And if you don't do anything, well, the knight is hanging, and if you move the knight, it's even worse. Something like rook to b3 attacks the queen, and there's no square for the queen. If you play queen to a7, rook b7 traps the queen. And if you play something like knight to b4, then queen to d2, and you will also lose the knight. There is no way to defend that. You could play something like rook maybe to b8, but it doesn't matter. Just bishop to f1, and there are so many weaknesses here. It's just a terrible position. Also the rook on b8 is hanging, so it cannot remain there. You're just gonna start winning material. It's a terrible position for black. So yeah, after rook c to a1, Anish resigned, and Hans Niemann is the winner of the match. I asked Anish on Twitter what impressed you the most about, well, obviously about the match against Hans. Anish said that the chess that spoke for itself. You see, Anish, a true ambassador for chess, graceful in victory and in defeat. Of course, we would expect nothing less, but yeah, this one goes to Hans, and I don't know who his next opponent is, as he is on this sort of a crusade to beat the best chess players in the world. He travels the world and challenges, strong players to a match in all of the time formats. So we'll see what happens. But I think he actually has the entire tourney already planned. But as it happens, I will mention it. And yeah, these are the results of the match. Blitz section, Hans won 7.5 to 4.5. In classical, Hans won 9 to 6, and the rapid was tied 6 to 6, making it, yeah, like I said, 22.5 to 16.5. So yeah, very impressive stuff by Hans. We'll see what he can do after this, and how the match in Paris goes against Magnus in the Speed Chess Championship. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Beautifully played by Hans in all of the time formats. He really plays interesting chess, really active chess, and it's definitely a joy to watch. So hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank Karl-Heinz Haas, Martin Georg Paparik, Duitran, Michael Bowers, and Carmen Polifronio for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. Really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.